Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This is where business stops being linear and starts being alchemical. This is a space where 3D strategy meets 4D frequency, where identity, energetics, and precision converge, and where 5D quantum creation becomes something you don't just learn, you fully embody. Season 1 reached over 15,000 downloads, and if you were a part of that journey, you already know this isn't just surface level business talk. This is about collapsing timelines, upgrading your self-concept, and building a business that responds to who you're becoming, not just what you're doing. Season 2 goes even deeper, more truth, more edge, more integration, less hustle, less distortion, and less playing small. So if you're ready to scale without self-betrayal, lead without dilution, let your business become a living extension of your frequency, you are in the right place. Welcome to this week's episode of the Quantum Business Queen podcast. Today, I want to bring up a few conversations I've been having in the Quantum Business Academy that has really illuminated some things for some of the guys who are crashing through the glass ceiling and are really wanting to get to the next level. And the conversation we had today was wildly potent, and it was around this whole concept of accommodation and how the length or the amount by which we accommodate for circumstances, people, situations, all the things in our reality is the amount by which we stay stuck. And so we really want to look at this, right? We really want to look at this. And I think we kind of disguise, I'm just going to be accommodating. And it is one of those mechanisms that we use for safety, but it's us actually bending to other people's standards, to other people's circumstances, to other people's programs, to other people's ways of being. And in that process, we lose our own. And so this is something super, super important that I really want to illuminate for you today. And like I said, sometimes the illumination of a concept, of a program, of a distortion in and of itself is enough to kind of break you out of the spell of it. And so let's really dive into the concept or having awareness around how you're accommodating. Like we accommodate, and it's disguised as generosity, as being a good person, as being nice. And in every little moment of accommodation, we're actually giving our power away. And so here's what we need to understand, and here's what's kind of underneath all of this, right? We experience our reality through a set of conscious or unconscious rules that we create for ourselves, right? Actually, most of the time we don't even create these. We look at other people's rules, we look at other people's circumstances, we look at other people's realities, and from that, we decide what's available and what's possible for us. So this is the first thing we need to understand. What rules are you living by? Okay, this is important because you have to build the scaffolding of rules for yourself, which is the scaffolding of standards, knowing that the universe will meet you at your number one, most limiting rules, and number two, your lowest standards. That's where the universe meets you. And where we give all of this power away is just by accommodating all these things, right? So the first thing we need to get clear on is, what are the rules by which you live by? So for example, some of these things that we call out in the Business Academy today, it's like, I don't live by the rules of what other people's economy experience is, right? So if I truly believe I'm a deliberate creator, which I do, and I'm assuming you do as well, otherwise you'd have no interest in this podcast. Therefore, I create my own economy. This is a rule that I have. Like, my business does not fluctuate with the highs and lows and the ebbs and flows of what's happening externally of me. Money moves through me, not to me. These are rules that I create for myself. Therefore, within the structure of these rules, I make no room for accommodation. I make no room to bend my rules for other people, for other people's comfort levels, to accommodate what other people are experiencing, right? I get super clear on what my rules are, what I make things mean, and the standards that I hold. That is the scaffolding that holds the structure of my experience. But then what happens is, if we're not clear on this, we're looking at everyone else's, and we're grabbing everyone else's rules, or grabbing everyone else's meanings, or grabbing everyone else's experiences, and we continuously accommodate to that. Therefore, we continuously give our own power away. And when you give your own power away, you no longer sit in the seat of deliberate creation, right? So this is what I want you to explore. So number one, this is one of the things I say. I have this little dynamic with one of my best friends, and we're both single. We're both in this dating world, and we're both like, we're not going to make exceptions anymore, right? And one of the things that we said that we promised that we're going to do is if there's any sort of little red flag or if there's any sort of little thing that makes us feel uncomfortable, the old versions of us would have just lifted up the rug and swept it under and been like, well, they're good looking, or well, they're, and you justify it, right? But here's the thing that we promised each other. And anytime we feel like we're accommodating, we're bending, we're giving away our power, we're going to say it out loud, right? We're going to say it out loud to each other. We're going to hear ourselves verbalize it because we think if we pretend it's not there, then it's not something that we have to do anything about. And if we're building the muscle and if we're training the field to think that, well, you can just accept and accommodate all these things and you can hold it and carry it for other people so they feel comfortable, that is how you're training the field to meet you at these standards, right? The other thing that happens is you, by trying to bend and carry and accommodate and make everyone else feel so good around you, you're carrying more and more and more of what is not yours, and your energetic grid is unconsciously at capacity. And therefore, you are no longer able to receive new, to receive different, to receive something more expansive, because you're carrying the energy, too much energy of accommodation. So if I want to put this in like steps, step one, what are your new expanded rules? Like some people have a negative association for rules. I don't look at it like that, right? My rules are I create my own reality through my own rules. I create my own reality through my own meanings, what I make things mean. And I create my reality through my own standards, not through somebody else's borrowed rules, meanings, or standards, right? Number two, I create my reality despite whatever's happening, despite the hardships that anyone else experiences, despite the meanings people talk about when it comes to building their entrepreneurial world or online or whatever, despite. I don't look at that. I don't plug into that. I create my own. Okay. And so here's why this is so important. Your ego is the thing that navigates this world and is the thing that notices everything. And your ego needs anchors. It needs something to hold on to, because the ego's biggest job is to make you feel safe, to make us feel safe. And the way it feels safe is through these anchors. And it uses anchors, but it uses your old stories, your old paradigms, and the evidence around you as its own anchors. But when you're creating your own rules, when you're creating your own meanings, when you're creating your own standards and narratives, you give your ego a new anchor to hold on to. And once your ego locks onto something, it tries its hardest to notice everything that matches these narratives, that matches these rules, that matches these meanings, and that matches these standards, which is so important. But when you're accommodating everything and everyone else around you, you don't know the woods for the trees. You have lost yourself in trying to be likable. You have lost yourself in trying to create safety. You have lost yourself in trying to make everyone else feel good, right? So this is so important. So important. If you want to be a deliberate creator, if you want to be an authority in your industry, if you want to stand out, if you want to really make an impact, you have to get so super clear on your own narrative. Your own narrative means your own reality. But oftentimes, 99.999% of times, we are borrowing everyone else's narratives. We're borrowing the past experiences narratives, and we copy paste that and future project it and wonder why we can't experience manifestation. This is why right here in and of itself. So get super clear on your rules, right? Get super clear on these new guidelines by which your ego's like, right, okay, this is how we lead now. If something feels uncomfortable, if somebody's trying to pull you in this direction, if you feel like you have to make someone feel okay, but it doesn't feel aligned with you, say it out loud, say it to a friend, let yourself have a conscious recognition of it. Because like I said, like what we're doing here in this podcast, when the truth is spoken, the spell is broken. When you say it out loud, you break the spell of it. And it is so wildly powerful. We no longer sweep any of this under the rug. We say it out loud. And this is also why I actually don't say some things out loud. For example, my goals, my vision, what's dropping in. It's like once you say it, you break the spell of it. And so if you want to break the spell of something, just say it out loud. Don't attach your identity to it, but just say it out loud. Then it's like, okay, I've said it. Now I have to do something about it. Too often people would be much more comfortable accommodating, sweeping it under the rug, because if it's there, we don't have to look at it. We don't have to change. We don't have to do anything about it. And it's much more comfortable, right? But I tell you what is uncomfortable is living through someone else's limiting rules, someone else's limiting standards, someone else's limiting meanings. So you have to create this for yourself. And the only way you can is by recognizing and calling out the fact that you have probably been way too accommodating. And it's a hard thing to say because it's a primal, very primal survival mechanism, right? Like if we didn't accommodate the tribe, we get ousted. And, back in the caveman days or whatever it may be, if we're ousted, we die. So it's very primal. It's very uncomfortable. But I have to say, and this is the thing I teach my mastermind, is that we are programmed to work against ourselves as energetic creators, okay? We're programmed to work against ourselves because the way quantum physics works is the opposite to how physics works. And so a lot of the concepts I teach feel so counterintuitive, but it is the path that you need to calibrate to, the comfort level you need to calibrate to in order to make these decisions to pave your own way. This is so important. And this is, again, and I've said this in other podcasts, right? Like it's great to like have all these concepts and, I feel so activated, and all the feedback I get from people who listen to this podcast. I feel so activated. You changed something in me, something sparked, or a light went on, or the penny dropped, or whatever it may be. That is all good and great and all the things, but that is not enough to have your life changed. Paradigm being flipped don't change your life. They might spark some dopamine for a second, and then you hit an end on the podcast. Then you go on your merry way and nothing changes. But if you take what I teach you, if you sit down and say, right, I've been living through a set of meanings, I've been living through a set of rules, I've been living through a set of standards that are not my own. And furthermore, I've been accommodating everyone else's, and you say it out loud, what you're going to see is this is going to move from a concept to an embodiment and to a new truth. And this is exactly how you change your life. This is important. Don't let everything I'm teaching you now just land as a concept in your mind. Let it move into your body as a new embodiment. And if something is an embodiment, it's a lived truth. So this is what I'm inviting you to do today. This is what I'm inviting you to actually like sit in and embody as a new way of being, because it's only the new way of being that's going to shift your reality, not the, ooh, this is a cool concept. Thanks, Sarah. No, that's not going to change anything. It is understanding these rules. What is your limiting rules? When you talk about, like, what do you say out loud and you're like, oh, that just makes my whole body contract. Why do I have that story? One of my rules was limiting rules or limiting stories or meanings was that, oh, I'm a single mom and I carry so much financial responsibility. Like, why do I keep saying that? Why? And sure enough, more responsibility manifests itself, right? And it's like, no, I am so empowered. I circulate so much money. It feels good to be the steward of all of this circulation, whether it be paying for things, whether it be money coming in, all of it. It's a much more expanded meaning. It's a much more expanded story. But somehow I get caught in the whole, oh, woe is me. I'm a single mom. Poor me. And I'm accommodating other people, making them feel comfortable. What if I said, no, I like making a ton of money. I like circulating a ton of money. Making money is amazing. I love it. It's going to ruffle some feathers, but I'm done accommodating people's nervous systems and people's perceptions. You have to be done with that. You have to be okay with cutting through that and being your own permission slip, and therefore being a permission slip for other people. So this is the conversation we had today, and it's really, really interesting. The other side of this was that, it's funny how the energy doesn't discriminate, right? We'll have a narrative like, oh, this is so hard. Life is so hard, right? That hardness, that is just a meaning that you're giving things. Hard is a meaning that you plug into a circumstance and a situation. And when you plug that meaning into something, that energy does not discriminate. So for example, Within the mastermind, obviously, we help people scale through energy and these concepts and liberating themselves and anchoring into what it truly means to be free through these embodiments and through automations. And one of the girls said, "Oh my goodness, building that automation was really hard." And I was like, "Okay, let's just objectively look at these facts, right? You wrote the copy. Is that right?" And she's like, yeah. I was like, "You and we back and forth twice, maybe at the most 3 times around copy adjustments." Yeah, that was accurate. And then we sent it to the funnel builder, our developer. She built the funnel and the turnaround was in a week and it came back flawless, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, "Tell me what was hard about that." And it's so interesting when we take on these meanings, we whitewash it across every aspect of our reality. Being a mom is hard, doing this hard. Oh, it's hard. It's such a collective narrative that we are so subconsciously taking on. We're not even realizing that we're whitewashing our whole reality with the meaning of everything's hard. When we looked at that situation objectively, it was quite objectively easy. It was done. It was quick. It was flawless. It was amazing. But we accommodate everyone else to make them feel better, to make them feel comfortable. And furthermore, we're taking on their narratives because we want to make it feel okay. So to wrap this episode up in a little bow, you got to stop accommodating. Accommodation is the greatest way you're giving your power away. And therefore, it is the biggest way you will stay stuck because you're just going to be recycling everyone else's narratives, everyone else's limiting meanings, everyone else's limiting standards, everyone else's limiting beliefs. Be okay with being a little bit polarizing. This is the only way you're going to pave your own path. So look at your reality, get your little accountability buddy and say it out loud, right? Say it out loud. Who have you been accommodating too much? What have you been tolerating? What have you swept under the rug? What is it that you need to see that you haven't been allowing yourself to see? And just illuminate it, right? I'm not asking you to flip your whole life upside down, but just by you witnessing it in and of itself is enough for it to shift. I promise you. This is one of the most powerful things. And this is honestly the conversation I've been having with entrepreneurs who are just starting out, trying to crack their first 20K months, through to entrepreneurs who I'm helping who want to crack their first $1 million month. It is this is the common thread. This is the common thread. Overly accommodating, wanting people to feel comfortable, not wanting to claim what they're really here to do, wanting to undermine their own power because they're just accommodating everyone else. But like I said in the very beginning, the more you accommodate, the amount by which you accommodate is going to be the amount by which you will always continuously be stuck. So I'm going to leave you with that for today, my friends. Thank you so much for being with me. The applications for the Business Academy are actually now open. I will have a link in the show notes if you want to fill out an application, book a call, and we can see if it is in alignment to be in this amazingly expanded community where we help you scale your business through energy and through automations. Until next time, I will see you soon.